everybody, and welcome to our Artist Career Success interview series. I'm so happy that you're back with us. And today I have the honor and the privilege of interviewing the one, the only, Miss Maud Arnold. Thank you so
Hi.
much here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I think what you're doing is so wonderful and so important.
Thank you so much. And same to you. I think you're such an inspiration and a bright light, especially during these dark times. So I'm a fan, I'm excited, and we're going to really shed some light today.
Thank you.
Of course. So we'll jump right in. If you could just tell all of our listeners and viewers who you are, what you do, and how you got to where you are.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maud Arnold. I'm a professional tap dancer. I'm also an entrepreneur, a choreographer, a director, a writer, a stand-up comedian, a producer, and a philanthropist.
Wow. You're everything. I love it.
And, oh, you said, how did I get there? I'm from Washington, D.C. I went to Ellington School of the Arts in Washington, D.C., and then I trained at the Debbie Allen Dance Academy in Los Angeles, and then I went to Columbia University in New York, and I'm currently bi-coastal between New York and Los Angeles, working.
Wow. You're living the dream. It's like, you know, the dream that people write about and talk about, but you're living it. So I absolutely love it.
Thank you. I'm very thankful. It's crazy to think that this is my life.
Yeah, right. It's like you hope and you pray for stuff and you work for it and then you get it and you're like, this is real.
And then all you do is keep working.
Right.
That's the irony. It's like you just keep working, and because there's no, especially when you love what you do, it's not like there's like an end goal. You know what I mean? It's just like continuing, I think, is the goal, is never stopping.
Wow. I love that. That came up a lot as I talk to artists. You know, it's all about that work ethic and just never stopping and not resting on the laurels. You know, it's great when you achieve a goal, quote unquote, but that was yesterday and this is today, right? So it's like, how do we continue the momentum?
Exactly.
Wow. I love it. So tell people a little bit more about your career, because I'm so inspired by it. You've been in so many things. You've created so many things. So kind of walk us through what you've done professionally.
Thank you. Well, my sister founded the Syncopated Ladies in 2003. Well, that was a long time ago, which is an all-female tap dancing band. And we wanted to make sure, we wanted to be ourselves when we tap dance, basically. Like, we're young, we're fun. You know, we would go to the club and we were like, why do these worlds have to live separately? You know, of like, dancing to hip hop and Beyonce, and then when we're tap dancing, it has to be a certain way. So over the last many years, we've created several videos. Many have gone viral. Between television and YouTube, you know, like online stuff, we have over 70 million views, which is really exciting. We produce the largest tap dance festival in the world called the DC Tap Fest. That's annual. This year it moved online. This year during the pandemic, we were the first dance company organization to do an event online. And so that was crazy and amazing and intense, because basically the pandemic, like quarantine and state of emergencies, were called like 10 days before our event. So we moved everything online in like 7 to 10 days. And we're very thankful. It was extremely successful. And like during the pandemic, we've had a tapathon to raise money. We raised over $8,000 to give many grants to people from around the world to help them with their groceries or their rent or medicine or transportation or whatever it is that they needed, who were tap dancers. So it's been a busy time. We also have a foundation where we have after school programs. What else? I co-directed 5 music videos that have come out during pandemic that I shot last year with one of my really good friends, Condola Rashad. So it's been a busy and like crazy time, but good. And I'm thankful, you know, to be healthy and to be working. I also feel like I've never worked this hard in my life. And I work hard. I've had a job since I was 8 years old. I used to sweep hair at a barber shop. So I'm not afraid of hard work. But the pandemic definitely put a different meaning to hard work.
Yeah, it did. And we're still figuring out what that is, right? But every day it feels like there's more and more to do, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. I'm just so proud of you. I have to say that yeah, you're just so inspiring to me as a dancer, but as an artist, just as a human being, as a Black artist. I feel like you really embody excellence. And like you said, you're not afraid to work hard. And you're not letting this pandemic stop you. You're like, all right, I have to maybe alter my path a bit, but it's not going to stop.
But I think that's very much what Black people do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're always met with crazy obstacles or insane struggles, and we figure it out and we create and we, you know, it's amazing to me. Like, you know, when I think about sometimes certain things, like I was watching the Patti LaBelle
Yes.
Gladys Knight verses, and I was like, these women are almost 80 years old. So imagine the adversity and racism and sexism that they had to face, and look at them still singing, still joyful, geniuses, musical geniuses,
Yeah.
and just legendary. And I'm like, if they can do it, we can do it.
Exactly. And Patty has some moves too. I'm like, are you a dancer?
Oh, Patty was getting in that chair, and she was like,
You're
I
living the
love
best life, right?
it. It was so good.
Yeah, it was. Wow. But I totally feel what you're saying, though. Yeah, they really provide that hope and that inspiration. I think you are too. You know, I think it's just as important though for us to see, you know, millennial artists and younger folks who are out there making history now.
Thank you. I feel very privileged to be in this space, and to be able to do what I love and be my own boss. And I think that's like the greatest accomplishment for my sister and I, is
Mhm.
that like nobody is in charge of us.
Wow. Oh, I love it. You're preaching to my soul today. I love it. I really love it because, you know, people who listen to these interviews, they know I'm all about that entrepreneurship. And I love that you embody that. You're not an artist that just, you know, went from gig to gig and somebody kind of mapped out your career and did everything for you. You very much self-made, and I love it.
Thank you. It's
Wow.
definitely, you know, like, I mean, I'm a tap dancer, so it's not like there was many jobs anyways. So it
Mm,
almost like forces you to become an entrepreneur. But I also think that we just grew up with that entrepreneurial spirit. Like when Chloe was like 11 and I was 5, we made scrunchies and sold them for $1. Like we
nice.
always hustled,
Yeah.
like, because we grew up poor. So
Hmm.
we always figured it out.
Wow. That is the blessing in that, right? Yeah, when you don't have, it's like you create and then you really cherish it more than just having everything given to you.
It's so true. I think about that often. Like if I have kids in the future, because I'm not going to be poor, I'm like, how do I find that balance? Because I do love the value system in which I grew up in. And I realize it's just like, you have to work for what you have. Like mommy has a Tesla. You're going to work for your Corolla. Okay.
Exactly. It's true, right? Because we do kids a disservice, yeah, just giving them everything all the time. Yeah.
It's such a disservice to coddle children and to, yeah, it's the biggest disservice. I see it all the time, and I'm like, stop spoiling these kids. And they
Yeah.
get out and they get out in the real world and are stuck and lost.
Mm. It's so pertinent that we're talking about this now because I think artists need to hear that, especially the ones who are homebound and they're trying to figure out, you know, where do I go next? They have to realize that they have to do some fishing. You have to figure out some things for yourself to survive what we're facing right now.
100%, you have to.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Yeah, just click a button and things just fall from the sky and people do stuff for you. But we both know this is not the reality.
Is that the reality? And also, I think that like if you get that all the time, you don't even appreciate the nice things you have. You
Mm,
know, I mean, look at, you know, God bless people who struggle with addiction. And I think that sometimes people fall into addiction out of boredom.
mhm,
You know, sometimes it's other things, but I think sometimes it's just like, I have nothing else to do. I have everything that everybody wants, and I still feel lonely. So what can make me
mm,
feel something? Oh, it can be alcohol or drugs or, you know. So I think, and
mm,
having grown up in a household where I saw substance abuse, it it's really scary and it's really sad.
mm. And it totally is. And it's hard for artists, right? So funny you mentioned that because I feel like artists, especially when they reach a certain level, sometimes they fall into those trappings and it's hard to get out of.
It's really, really hard to get out of. And I think that's why it's so important that we fortify our minds
Yes.
and our spirit so that we don't fall into those things. Like I don't drink alcohol at all and I don't do any drugs. And I've always been like that because I grew up around people who were addicted and I was like, and I saw how it ruined your life. And I just was like, this has never been interesting to me. And the thing is that people will try to peer pressure you. People still try to peer pressure me. And I'm like, I'm grown, like shut up. At this point, it's annoying. Why don't you drink? And my response is always, why do you drink?
Amen to that. Wow. And I'm just like you, by the way. So I'm so living in this moment. Yeah, I'm always the one at the party with the water. Yeah, I don't.
Exactly. I always go with my bottle of water.
Yeah. But yeah, you get tired of hearing it. It's like, well, you do it. I don't. Nobody's judging, but please.
Yeah, like
yeah.
I'm not going up to you like, why are you drinking? How many drinks is this? And you all up in my business with my water.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
Yeah, that's what we're not going to do, right?
Exactly.
I love it. So I'm just going to go back for a moment. So your career has been amazing and it still is. Take me, though, to a time where it wasn't so amazing, a time where you're about to call it quits or just something that really made you question, is this for me?
Well, I never wanted to call it quits because I grew up very, like, my friends are always like, you're thug life. It's funny. One of my mentors told me that last week. He was like, you're such a thug. So I never wanted to quit. I'd say that when we first started Syncopated Ladies, people were cyberbullying us like very, very strongly, like creating fake Facebook accounts to try to like disparage us and like bring us down. And it's funny because I think that was the defining moment when it was like, if we do this, clearly we're going to be met with like some haters and tension. And do we want to do this or not? And we were like, hell yeah, hell yeah. So I would say that was probably like the most difficult time. I have a sister, so it also makes things easier because she's my partner. I've been very, very lucky, but I also feel like I don't magnify the negative. So when people ask me this, it's really hard to think about like what it is. Because the reality is like, for example, our tap festival, DC Tap Fest, is the biggest in the world. We lose money doing it because we give so much for free. Right. And so a lot of people would see that as a failure, and I see it as a success. Like the way we watch children matriculate through there and become successful and literally save kids' lives. So from a financial aspect, that project is a complete failure. From a moral and legacy standpoint, it's phenomenal. So I think that it just depends on like how you look at stuff, basically. Like we had a 30-city tour scheduled for Syncopated Ladies starting this month, but it all got canceled because of the pandemic. And did we sit at home and cry? No, we're like, okay, how do we fix this? What's the next thing we do? Wow. Where I think a lot of people wallow in rejection, we do not.
Yeah, we're twins.
I love that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on that. It's not that you don't acknowledge it. Like you said, this is more about not wallowing in it, though. Right? Because we're all sad. We all feel like, this is a terrible situation, but it's the people who really like dry those tears quickly and get up and keep fighting to survive it, and it's the people who kind of stay fixated on March and what happened. Because I have artist friends, and God bless them, I love them, but they're still talking about March and they're still so fixated on what happened. And I'm like, let's rip that Band-Aid off. Let's like heal it up. Like we're on to our second, third company show virtually. It's like keep fighting,
Time ain't waiting for nobody.
No.
And you look at companies like Amazon and Apple, they ain't waiting for nobody. They're making more money than they've ever made because they didn't stop. So, and I think, it's important, obviously, for like mental health and stuff. But I also think that when you're wallowing, it's not like it's like it's like a breakup. You have to give yourself like the little bit of time you need to heal, and you gotta keep it pushing.
Yeah. Wow. That's so true. Yeah, time is not waiting for anybody, and we'll look up and it'll be next March. And are we still talking about what happened last year? It's like
exactly. Like, can you believe it's already September? Before we know it, it's gonna be Christmas. Literally, Christmas is tomorrow.
Isn't that crazy? And it's cold now and stuff. I'm like, what's going on?
Oh, it's still hot in LA. Like I'm like hot. It's also burning down. So there's lots of things happening.
Wow, I love it. And I love how positive you look at it because it's about perspective, and I'm very much share that thought of there's a positive side to everything. And do we choose to look at it or not? And I'm challenging all artists out here to really start looking at the positive a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Wow, I love it. So you've accomplished so much within this career. What's the one moment though that's been just the most memorable, or that aha moment that you'll never forget?
I think there are a few, but I think the one most recently that happened was in December, and we went to Folsom State Prison to perform as a part of, it was called Play for Justice, and it was a part of the movie, it was a part of the promotion for the movie Just Mercy with Michael B. Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And we performed for like 700 or 800 inmates, men in maximum security prison. And it was the best show we've ever done. You could literally hear like a pin drop. They were the most attentive, responsive audience. It's like, you know, when you create something and you're like, this is what I want the audience to feel. They hit every mark.
Wow.
And then we were talking to some of them at the end, and, you know, a few of them said, when you danced, I felt free. And, you know, to be reminded of the power of art, I think that was one of the most incredible moments. And I mean, of course, like working with Beyonce is like the best and amazing, and she's so inspiring and incredible. But then you remember like the masses of the people who can be moved by your art, and who it can literally save their life, you know, from something bad or negative, or just even their day, even if just for those 15 minutes they felt free, that might give them hope for the next year. So I think that was it.
Wow. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that, because it's like you said, you know, getting to work with Beyonce, obviously most people are like, that's it. And I love that you're like, that's awesome, but it's really about touch.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I feel like it's funny because like without having worked with Beyonce, we would have never gotten to go work at the prison. So because, you know, Beyonce has shared our videos and elevated our platform and hired us to work for her. And we are like eternally grateful, because her kindness and her generosity has opened so many other doors.
Wow.
You know, that I don't even think she really even knows.
No.
Because she just gives without the intention of receiving. So I think, you know, like next time I see her, you know, whenever pandemic's over, like I want to make sure that she's very clear that like she has not only changed our lives, but she's changed like thousands of people's lives by allowing us to do what we do.
Wow. And just for our viewers, if you just want to let them know exactly, you know, what were you guys working on together?
Oh, okay. So I've worked like in production on several of her commercials and music videos. But when Topshop was opening her Ivy Park launch, like the first one, like 4 years ago, she had us flown to London to open up the launch of the clothing line. And then we also performed Formation on Good Morning America. And I think we're still the only people who have ever been approved to perform her song besides her on TV.
Wow. Wow.
Really
This is
cool.
what dreams are made of. I know people at home are like freaking out now, but this is possible. Like you're literally here.
It's totally possible. It's crazy, but it's totally possible. I definitely feel like I live a charmed life.
Yeah.
Like my stars are aligned. I must have done something good in my past life, because life is good.
It's so good. And it's because you're giving back too. I feel like you have that same generosity to you that you mentioned in Beyonce, you know. So yeah, you going back and giving back, you know, to the persons in the community is amazing, and that stuff doesn't go away, right? It kind of stays in your soul and your spirit.
I wouldn't do any of the things that we did if there wasn't a give back component. Like giving back is really like, it's why we do it. You know, like what's the point? Like, I get to do these videos, but then it's like I see the kids. You know, we have a youth company that meets once a month. In fact, I'm going to see them this week online right now. And you know, I was talking to one of the parents the other day, and she was like, "This y'all's dance programming has literally saved our children's lives. They were bored, isolated, sad, and depressed, and now they feel good and happy and have something to look forward to." So I think one of the things is that people often look at like giving back, like, well, I'm not rich yet, or I'm not successful yet, I can't give back. You can mentor a child, you know, if you graduated from high school and, you know, you have a job, even just giving a child attention who doesn't have it at home can literally save their lives.
Hmm.
Love and attention.
It's huge, right? Like we all need mentors in our lives, but definitely kids today. So,
Yeah, mentors are so important.
wow, I just love it. I love everything that you're doing. I really do, and I guess that's just inspiring because you're really sowing into the next generation. I think with your foundation and the production company and just everything you're doing, it's all about the next. And so many artists don't get the importance of that, right? If we stop it at just us and what we're doing and our success, then the industry fails very quickly. But you're thinking long term, like how do we keep the arts going and changing lives?
Yeah, we have to. It's all about the future.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I love it. I love it. So if you could give us some words of wisdom, because again, people are at home and they're feeling like, are we ever going to get out of this thing? Are we ever going to get to dance and draw and create and whatever they do? So give that young artist who's in that dark place, give them some wisdom on what to do.
I would say if you're feeling like you're in a dark place, reach out to somebody who you know is positive and who can lift and who can help lift you out of that place. I think it's really important to not be afraid or ashamed to say like, I'm not okay, I feel sad, I don't feel good. Like what we're all going through in our lifetimes, this is brand new for you know, people particularly of our generation. Like my grandmother, she's still alive, she's a Holocaust survivor. So when I think about it, like she's lived through a war, her whole family was murdered, and she escaped a dictator. Well, we're living under a dictator right now. Mm-hmm. You know, things are unknown, people are crazy, but I think that it's important to surround yourself with goodness. And you have to remember that like sometimes the media likes to highlight the negative because it's the easier clickbait, the easier way to make money. But there is so much positive stuff going on. And so I think it's important that every day we make sure like, are we reading something positive or are we watching something positive, like what you're doing, as opposed to watching like Fox News. It's like, let me tune into this and actually gain something that can help my life and my career. And at the end of the day, like do your art. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just do it, right? Whatever. Like this week I was feeling like uneasy about something and I was like, I need to shake it. Like, you know, something really was bothering me in my personal life. And then I was talking to my friends and then I was like, I wrote in a journal, I cried it out, and here I am today. I made it through. So it's like you have to allow yourself to go through the emotions and go through the feelings and do your art. Like literally, it can suck, but just do it because it doesn't suck because you expressed it.
Wow, that's a word right there. I love it.
Thanks. And listen to music that makes you happy. You know what song I listen to? I listen to Sun is Shining by Bob Marley.
I have to play that soon. Yeah, I love it.
It's a great song. He says, I can't sing at all, but the first line he says, sun is shining, the weather is sweet, makes me want to move my dancing feet. It's just a good song. It's a really good song. It makes me happy every time I hear it. Wow. And Lovely Day by Bill Withers.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's a hands down favorite right there. Wow.
So.
No, that's powerful. It's yeah, the art is like therapeutic for us and the audience. I think sometimes as artists and entertainers, we get so wrapped up in the audience, but really is for us too. So we have to do it no matter how it looks. If you're in your bedroom and I'm up there dancing, trying to do pirouettes and knocking over stuff and jumping over the cat. But again, you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly. And honestly, it's fun. And it's kind of fun for the non-artists to see like how we do things, how it's not perfect. It makes us human and you know, follow artists that you admire on social media. You know, like I'm so inspired. I have a friend who's putting up a new art show next month in London, and like people are doing things. My friend is putting up an art installation right now in Brazil, while also during the day, like making sure people in the hood, in the favelas have like hand sanitizer and food. So it's, you know, there's so many good things happening. And I think we just, as Americans, tend to magnify the negative, and it's just, you gotta magnify the positive.
Well, that's so true. Yeah, so like, for a long time before, you know, I was always dancing, but I thought that my career outside of that would be, you know, journalism and news media. And all it took was one summer internship to say it's not for me. would come to the newsroom with like all this great positive community stuff, and maybe 1% of my stories, would get picked up because
Yeah.
about ratings, all about readership. Like we need a little more drama, give us something juicier. So
Mm-hmm.
I learned right away that, like you said, the news is not as objective as it should be.
Exactly.
Yeah, but good things are happening regardless, and then we make our own news. Like you said, things like this, and we all do it in our own way. But we tell the good news because people are doing amazing work in the midst.
There's amazing work happening. I like that new show that I can't think of their name. Krasinski. They're actors. It's called Some Good News, and they just like talk about funny things, and
yeah.
I love that. It's kids and drawings. They're like, today somebody drew this. Like, it's like we forget the little things can really turn a day around.
Yeah, and we gotta get back to that childlike place. That's when you mentioned kids, because they know what's going on, but they still have such a sense of joy and faith, and like they just
exactly.
And we don't as adults, right? It's like the further we get, it's like money issues and relationships and all this drama. But how can we get back to a childlike place where we just trust and live and are happy?
Exactly. So it's like channel your inner child.
Yeah, I love it. Well, tell folks how they can stay in touch with you and how maybe they could train with you, things like that.
Oh yeah. So on Instagram, I'm at Maudipoo, MAUDIEPOOH. It's a childhood nickname. Nice. And if you want to take online tap classes, we have online tap classes all over. You go to onlinetapfest.com. And yeah, just stay in touch. We're creating content. I also host a weekly joyful, it's called the Modcast.
And we love you so much. Thank you for being here. This is really an honor. And
thank you so much for having me.
Oh, of course, anytime. Well, please, guys, stay in touch with Maud because she really is such a wealth of knowledge and inspiration. And we will see you back here next time for more artist career success interviews. Take care.